faculty as a part-time lecturer. I'm also on the leadership team at a church in Hillcrest, and when I lecture in architecture, I occasionally give a thought for the day to get the guys thinking about things in life, because I feel that in life we get thrust into these decisions at university, and I think you guys aren't taught anything unless you specifically go and try and find information on stuff. You're not going to learn anything, and decisions, you get forced into decisions which you haven't really had much experience or thought about. So that's why I want to give you this talk. I'm hoping that you learn something. If you don't learn anything, well, you can have your money back. But I first want to say that sex is God's idea. You might not have thought about that, but pleasure is often associated with the devil. You think, oh no, anything that's nice, anything that's good is bad. Well, it's not. God designed sex. He's not like up there in heaven looking down and saying, oh no, what are they doing now? He knows exactly what you're doing, and He planned it that way, and it's a great thing. And God made men and God made women, and He made them very differently. And I want to talk a bit about that because I think we don't understand the opposite sex all that well. Ladies, us guys have something that runs through our blood, and it's called testosterone. And if you knew how it affected us guys, I think you'd be even more disgusted with us than you already are. We have a testosterone rush, and it messes with our brains. We get it often early in the morning, like at 4 a.m. And suddenly, all of a sudden, doom, you have a hard problem. and it's not like we're thinking of anything bad, or we're watching porn on our phones. No, it's just testosterone. And I know when I was in first year, we had Dawnies, we had first lectures at 7:45. We'd come into the lecture theatres in winter, and the aircon's on and it's freezing cold, and all the blood goes to your skin. And same thing again. And now you've got girls in the class, and you're looking and you're thinking, please turn the lights off. You're watching. So, ladies, just be aware that that's normal. God made that, and that's something that affects us. And it's about a 3 to 4 day cycle that guys have with that. Women, on the other hand, are driven by something completely different called estrogen, and that's on a 28-day cycle. Now guys, you might have heard a few jokes about this PMS thing. You need to learn to live with it, because it's going to mess with your life for the rest of your life when you get married. Just before the ladies have their periods, they have a very low level of estrogen, and it makes them crabby and unpleasant. And it's not their fault. I once fasted. I don't know if any of you guys were in that 40-hour famine to help raise funds for stuff. And when you fast, you also get crabby and short-tempered and irritable. And I think that, for me, is the nearest I've ever experienced to how I think the ladies sometimes feel. And guys, I wouldn't worry too much about it, because when your lady is in that premenstrual stage, she's going to be a different person than she is just in a week's time. So just take it in your stride, just absorb it, and just wait a few days, and things will be cool again. All right, I just want to teach you that, because nobody's probably taught you that before. Certainly if you've never had any sisters, like I never had any sisters. There are a couple of good movies out that teach about men and women. I don't know, have any of you seen the movie When Harry Met Sally? It's quite an old movie now. Go and get it. It teaches you interesting things, like, for example, he says in the movie, guys think about having sex with all the girls they know. And she says, even the ugly ones. He says, yeah. And that's true. So, I'm just telling you the truth, guys. And girls, guys, they're probably going to fake it at some time. I know you're the stud, and I know you're going to seduce her, and it's going to be wonderful. At some time or other, she might maybe she's going to fake it. But just accept that it's real, it's part of life. Alright, guys are stimulated visually. Girls, you need to know this. I'm sure you do already. I was just walking around campus and I'm looking, sure. So I think girls know how to catch guys. But remember that that's true in marriage as well. That you need to keep the guy visually stimulated. And a guy can be turned on like that. You know, he can be doing his own thing, working in the garage, doing his own thing. You walk past him in your little negligee, jing, he's ready. But guys, girls are not like that. If you are keen on your lady and you want to have a good time tonight, you must start in the morning. Women need time. They need romance. You know, be nice to her, open the door in the morning, make sure her car's full of petrol, do nice things. You know, I think this is crazy, but it's true. I've tried it and it's true. If you do the dishes, 80% more chance of having sex that night. Guys, I'm telling you, it works. And we'll talk a bit more about it next week in relationships, in love, and the way people perceive love. So beware of that. And something else which I just want to touch on, it's a bit embarrassing, but it's something which, guys, you need to learn, is that if you're not using condoms and you do it, what you put in there comes out, and it comes out later. So you might have had a great time the night before, but you're sitting in church the next morning and suddenly the woman is angry with you and all upset. You know, it's probably because something's wet and not very pleasant. So just be aware of that in your life. I certainly didn't have a clue about these sorts of things. I'm just sharing with you life issues. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about sex in the Bible, because that's where my angle's coming from. People might say, okay, the Bible is very clear on adultery. We all know adultery is wrong. I'm not going to have any flings once I get married, but before I get married, you know, it's okay to have 2 or 3. Why not sit around a bit, get to know, you know, what it's like, da-da-da. The Bible doesn't say that's wrong, is it? Well, the Bible talks about fornication, the word fornication, or sexually immoral, and it's very clear on that fact. 1 Corinthians 6:18, 1 Corinthians 7 verse 2, Ephesians 5 verse 3, Deuteronomy 22. But I'm not going to say to you, you mustn't, because you're not going to listen to, who's going to listen to some ugly 45-year-old? Like, I'm just going to tell you some stories, and you must make up your own decisions. Okay, when I was in 3rd year or 4th year, I got my first girlfriend. You know, how I got a girlfriend, I don't know, miracles happen. I discovered, we kind of went away on like a semi-Christian group thing. I discovered that she'd already slept with 8 guys. And I had to learn to deal with that. The first guy that had slept with her, if I mention his name, you probably know who he is. He was interviewed on East Coast Radio not long ago. His name is mentioned. And anyway, I was dating this girl, and he works at the Playhouse. That's a hint of who he is. And we went to go see a play with him in it. And afterwards, we had coffee at the restaurant, and he came up and sat with us. And she started stroking his arm. Man, I wanted to kill this thing. I just wanted to knock his block off. Anyway, I got up, I went and I smashed the toilet door, or the wall, I can't remember, and I didn't. But I said to her, you know, have you done it in water? Yes. Have you done it to music? Yes. Have you done this style? Yes, yes, yes. So what's left for me? If I marry this girl, what's left for me? But, you know, I think of another friend of mine. He was your average guy, okay? If he could get into a girl's panties, he would. Just an ordinary guy, not a Christian, not anything, just a guy. He told me a story once. He got a girl in the back of the car. He was taking all her clothes off. He nearly had all her clothes off. So she looked deeply into his eyes and said, "Do you love me?" And he said, "No." And she got all her clothes and she started crying and she left the car. And he said to me, "Next time I'm going to say yes." But, you you know, he was studying architecture with me and started dating a girl who was studying architecture with me, and she had slept with one other guy, and he wanted to kill her. But he didn't mind being that oak to other girls' future husbands. You see what I'm saying? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you want to sleep around, oh, that's fine. Get a girl that slept around as well, and you're going to deal with all that baggage. Okay, how far? You know, when I was in first year, most of the girls in my class, I think, were virgins still. By third year, most of them weren't, even the Christian ones. And I think often they don't intend that to happen, but it just happens. I'm going to say something now. I want all the guys to close their ears. No, it's fine, it's fine. The question is, how far should you go in dating? Now, you're all going to go further. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. I'm a Christian, a strong Christian. When I started dating my wife, we went much further. But try and draw the line at the jaw. At the jaw. Now, why am I saying that to you? Why must you draw the line at the jaw? Because, and this is what I don't want the guys to know because they'll use it, kissing the neck is a key. It turns a woman on. So ladies, if you've got a guy and he's got you in a corner, he starts kissing you on the neck, stop things right there. Because you might go a lot further than you want to go. Alright, so that's why I'm telling you this. Try and keep the line at the jaw. James Dobson, he does a lot of talking, a lot of young teen stuff. He says that in America, once you've spent at least 30 hours with a partner, a girlfriend or boyfriend, you're going to end up in bed with them. That's just the national average. So what I'm saying to you guys is be careful. Because, you know, it's often the Christian girls are the ones who fall pregnant because they're the ones who aren't prepared. And then something happens, they don't intend it to happen, and boom, you're pregnant. So I would recommend that you check your geography. You want to stay celibate, check your geography. Don't end up in a compromising situation, just the two of you. I mean, you want to, but go somewhere where it's public. Because he's going to want to go further. I mean, that's the way guys are made. It's a good thing. Guys are designed that way. But just be careful. Look, I had a couple good friends of mine. She was a Christian. She slept with a guy, and then she started dating a guy, and she slept with him, and then he became a Christian. And they decided that they were going to stop sleeping together. They did, and they didn't. They stopped sleeping together until they were married. That was hard to do, but I was, you know, they managed to do it. And if you've fallen, if you've sinned, or whatever, you know, God can cleanse you, and you can start again. And I would recommend you do that route. It's the right thing to do, and you'll be blessed because of that. I just want to show you some statistics. A person in America, they did a survey in the whole of America. If you've slept with only one person, your marriage partner, your chances of divorce are 10%. You slept with two, it jumps up to 50%. You slept with three or more, 60%. You see what an effect it has. The Jewish word for cleaving together, it's echad. It means welded together. You know, the worldview on sex is that it's just like a massage. You know, it's just a fun thing to do. We do it and then go do it to somebody else. There's no spiritual or deep bonding that happens there. But there is, people. Something happens at a deep level during sexual intercourse where people are bonded together, and that has an effect on you. This is a bit of a difficult one because I know if I start mentioning demons and stuff, you guys are going to just freak and say, "Oh, the guy's talking rubbish." But I was walking in Point Road. I wasn't looking for a prostitute. I was going to the wheel. There was a woman sitting there, and she looked at me. And I looked into her eyes and I saw something wanting to devour me. It was the most creepiest, scariest feeling I've ever had. And it's the only time in my life I felt like a hamburger. Because it was horrible. But there was something demonic in those eyes, and they wanted me. And it happened again. I was in Pietermaritzburg, I was by myself, it was at night, I stopped at a petrol station. I got out the car, a woman parked in the next petrol pump, she got out the car, she looked at me, and those same, it was a completely different woman, but that same look, I knew immediately that she was a prostitute. There was a guy who was, he was a shaman in the Amazon jungle, dealing with demons and stuff, and he became a Christian. He came to America, and they interviewed him, and they said, is there anywhere where you see the demonic stuff happening in America? He said, yes, it's in the prostitution profession. That's where he's seen it. So sex has spiritual links and bonds, guys. I don't want to scare you, but I'm just telling you my own experiences and experiences of other people. Right, what about sexual positions? That's your next question. Just lighten things up a little bit. Biblically, the marriage bed is sacred. And I believe if both of you agree on it, you're happy with it, then it's fine. Guys, you know, I did a quick calculation, and I've done it well over 1,000 times. And so will all of your parents have. And you get tired of doing it the same way. I know this is going to blow your mind, but all of your parents will have tried all the different positions. I'm telling you. It's just life. You get bored. No, not my parents. Oh no, don't do it. I'm telling you that. I remember when I was in my prac year, I was working for this guy, and he said, no, we've tried all this. I looked at him, not you. Ah, this is true, it's happened. The next question, which I know is a biggie for the guys, the whole issue of masturbation, wanking, play with yourself, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to go too deeply, that's quite a sensitive issue. I have written a booklet on it. It's on Amazon Kindle if you want to go get a copy. I just wanted to say that my view on the subject is the same as James Dobson's and the other good Christian author, Richard Foster, is that there's actually nothing wrong with it. You got to deal, guys, I know, girls as well, but it's a natural reaction. And for me, my own experience is just get rid of it, get it done out the way. Otherwise, what happens is you fight it, and it gains power over you. I find that if you fight it, then you start having issues. Because the one problem with it, I've looked at it from the whole biblical side, and the one issue is what's happening in the mind. It's not what's happening down here; it's what's happening up there. That's the issue. And if you are driving a long distance and you know you've got a lot of testosterone flowing through your body because nothing's happened the last 3 or 4 days, you start having to worry about what you think about up here. So guys, my story with that subject is not an issue. Just whatever. It's all right. Get rid of it and don't worry about it. Don't make an issue of it. Sorry guys, this is going to be bad news for you. I thought that when I got married, I could have done with that and never worry about it again, but it's not the case. Your lady gets sick, you know, for a week or two and nothing happens, and actually she'll be glad that she can do that because then she doesn't have to look after you. Just telling you the truth, not laugh. Right. I don't think a talk like this is completely without some talk on contraception. And you know, the Catholic Church is quite anti-contraception, and what are my views on it? I think we must be realistic. We're in a world where the population is exploding. We do have pressure on the planet. I can tell you my own personal story. I wanted a son, and I only got two daughters. And but we agreed we're going to have 2 kids. My wife said, no more, you won't have all that pain. So I went and had my tubes tied. I remember that night crying my eyes out. I just knew that there could have been another one. There could have been a child, a son, and there's not going to be any more. although when I was your age, I was a big guy, pro the planet, you know, we've only got so many leopards left and there's 7 billion people. I don't know, God's command to us is to multiply and to populate the planet. So, although I'm not going to go into issues of stuff that's about the different types of contraception, you can find all that information out there, it's easy. But just, those are my thoughts. I think it is okay to use contraception, but be careful. Just think about your life and God's call to actually procreate. If you're going to say to me, well, we decided not to have any kids at all, I would probably say that's unbiblical. That's not what God's calling us to. Sexually transmitted diseases. Guys, I think you know we're in the world's highest AIDS area. Look, I looked on the internet for statistics for universities, and it's actually AIDS statistics for universities actually quite low, much lower than the average of the population. But I think out there, 1 in 4 children have lost a parent to AIDS. That's the statistic in KwaZulu-Natal. But it's not only AIDS, there's a whole bunch of other sexually transmitted diseases, which you guys have probably never heard of. Gonorrhea, syphilis, herpes, crabs. They say that 1 in 10 Americans has a sexually transmitted disease, but half of those are between the ages of 18 and 24. And if you do your maths, that's like 50% of people. That's 1 in 2 have got a sexually transmitted disease in America at that age. Syphilis, since the invention of penicillin, syphilis is cured. One shot, you sort it. Syphilis is a huge pandemic in American universities just because of the immoral activity on those universities. Even though it's cured easily, it's still a big problem. Okay, what about abortion? Tough one. There's 2 things I want to say here. If you are considering an abortion, go and speak to somebody who had one 6 years ago. Because she'll be sitting in a playground looking at 6-year-old kids and thinking my kid could be running with those kids. When you're in a situation, you're in a dark hole, there seems to be no escape. But I think there is always a way. The other point I want to make, I don't know if any of you have read the book Heaven is for Real. Have any of you read that book? Heaven is for Real? It was a New York Times bestseller. It's about a 5-year-old kid that dies and goes to heaven and comes back to life again. He starts telling his parents about his experiences. One of the things that he experienced, he met a girl there, and the girl came up and said, "I'm your sister." So when he comes back to earth, he says to his mom, "Mom, you never told me I've got a sister." No, he had a sister on earth. So he said, "No, yes, no, of course you've got a sister. No, another sister in heaven." And his mother said, "Well, what's her name?" She said she didn't have a name. She was very little, and you never gave her a name. And then she realized that she had a miscarriage, and that child from that miscarriage was in heaven. Now that starts making you think, guys. You know, I haven't written it down, but the abortion statistics in America are scary. Like, there's 200 million Americans, and they've had 50 million abortions. Yeah. Look, guys, I would say I'm a pro-lifer on this one. My personal opinion. All right, sex and alcohol. Be very careful with alcohol, guys. I don't think I need to tell you that. In marriage, it can be helpful to relax. You know, if you're stressed and your husband's giving you the gears because he wants it and you're not interested, it is helpful. But I want to tell you a story, a very sad story. When I was in 3rd year, there was a 1st year girl, a very pretty girl, and I invited her to the rag ball, and she accepted it, and I was blown away. I wasn't the, you know, I'm not a looker, I'm not very suave, and anyway, I took her on the date with some friends, And being my usual completely crazy self, I said, "Oh, so do you kiss on first date?" Well, that was the last time I dated her. But anyway, 2 years later, there was a party. And she got so completely drunk that she passed out, and the guys were lining up to shag her. Now, I didn't know about it at the time. I only heard about it afterwards. I heard the guys talking. And I didn't know whether it was true or not. But the next time I saw her, I looked into her face, and I knew straight away. Because it looked like somebody had ripped her soul out of her. That's the only way to describe what she looked like. So guys, be very careful in that department. Okay. I think, guys and girls, ask God to keep your virginity as a gift for your marriage partner. I'll tell you what happened to me. I thought, no, man, I'm strong. I will never have sex before I'm married. You know? No problem. I will keep my virginity for my wife. And then when I got this girlfriend that I mentioned at the beginning of the talk, who had slept with 8 guys, and God had given it to me, I thought, well, why must I wait? So I'd actually made a decision. She was going to spend a night with us. The folks were out. I thought, okay, I'm going to sleep with her. And she actually stopped me. So my virginity, which my wife enjoyed in our marriage, wasn't my gift, it was God's gift. And that's why I would ask all of you, if you want to keep yourself, your marriage partner, which I believe you should do, ask God to help you with that gift for them. Alright, I want to end on a high note. When you guys go on honeymoon, you know what KY jelly is? If you don't, get some, take it on honeymoon. It's a personal lubricant, it'll help you guys. Guys, cut your fingernails. Keep them well trimmed. Okay, remember that foreplay isn't just a nice thing to do occasionally. It's part of sex for the female psyche. She needs that time. If you go too quick, she's not going to enjoy it, she's not going to be ready, it's going to be a disaster. Take time. Play a bit, have a bit of fun in the beginning of it. Use KY jelly if necessary. Don't force the issue. I would even suggest, I know I was told this, first night, you're all stressed after the wedding, maybe don't do it that first night, just cuddle a bit, and if it happens, it doesn't, wait for the next morning. Don't force the issue, guys, because you know, you want that first time to be nice, to be exciting. I just want to raise something because I have had experience of it, but it's very rare. If you come from, and the only reason why I'm talking about it is because religious guys sometimes come from strictly religious backgrounds. If you're a girl and you come from a strict religious background and you've got a negative attitude towards sex, or you've had a near rape instance, there's something called vaginismus. You can Google it. It's when the muscles clamp, tighten, and sex becomes impossible. And if that happens, you need to go see a psychologist to sort it out. They're not going to sort it out itself. It can be quite devastating for a couple to be married and not be able to have sex. And it happens. Okay. Guys, cranberry juice. Take cranberry juice on your honeymoon. Or at least citrus soda. Because you're playing down there and you get bladder infections. And she gets a bladder infection, no more sex for the honeymoon. Okay, so make sure she drinks citrus soda or cranberry juice regularly. If you're going to, do the whole cunnilingus thing, if you don't know what that word is, you can Google that one. Just use a mouthwash. Mouthwash kills all the bacteria in your mouth. Will help the story as well. Okay, and guys, just a final party comment. Take your socks off first, not your pants. And I would leave the Crocs at home as well. Alright, that's my talk, guys. Did you all learn something? I hope you learned something. something. I hope I wasn't too crude or too out there. Any questions? If you're brave enough, anyone brave enough to ask a question? Anything, guys, you know me, I will talk about anything. Alright, next week, please bring your friends. I'd like to have some more. I'm going to be talking about love. And I wanted sex to be the first one because of the guys. It should have been love first, but I want to talk about love and the different types of love and what love actually is and the different, different people see different things. So hopefully next week you guys can come and learn a bit more about the amour of relationships.